Nonsense in the chaos. Wicked witches. Trusting the unknown. Welcome to the Nonsense in the Chaos. I'm your host, Jolie Rose. So I'm back in the studio and back in front of my computer. And today I'm going to be interviewing Fiona Williams, who I'm extremely excited to have finally met. We've had some technical issues when we were recording this evening, which just is Mercury retrograde. I'm just accepting that that's in full swing and that's what's happening. It's okay. We've managed to make the recording and all has worked out well. And I'm so chuffed to have finally met Fiona. I've been reading her book, The House of Broken Bricks, which is absolutely brilliant. I highly recommend it. And I found out about Fiona through meeting her partner in a pub in Burrowbridge, where we just gone up to Burrow Mump, which is one of the sacred sites where the energy lines cross. And we went into the King Alfred pub, which is at the bottom of the Mump Hill. And we met these two builders who actually turned out to be artists and completely woke and not at all like what we'd been encountering up until then, walking through Cornwall and Devon, where every single pub we walked into, people were talking about immigration, and it was just this like buzzword that was on everybody's lips, and it felt very toxic and unpleasant. And when we walked into the King Alfred pub and these builders were there, we kind of were just sort of expecting the same old spiel from them. And then they suddenly completely surprised us and were really fun and brilliant to talk to. And you can go back and listen to one of the earlier podcasts where some of the interview that we did with them was recorded. So it was through Joe talking to us that he told us about Fiona's work. And so I got in touch with her, and I'm absolutely delighted that we finally got to connect and talk about her work, which is fascinating. And so without further ado, here is the wonderful Fiona Williams. So tell me about your book.
So the book, for me, it's really weird because the book feels like a long time ago, but because it's kind of came out of the life that I was living on the Somerset Levels, because I was there for a very long time. And it was just an exploration of identity and the perception of identity in a rural space. But it was also, I guess, a celebration of landscape and a celebration of connecting to places that you might not necessarily have been born into, but that you feel a deep connection with, and how that sense of belonging and that love of home can be open to you wherever you live. So I wanted to tie into that and find some way to honour the landscape of Somerset, especially the kind of the levels where the story's set, and look at the kind of issues around racial perception and identity in the UK in a subtle way. It's a conversation that nobody likes to have. And it's, even in fiction, you're like, how can you talk about this in a way that's palatable and understandable and gentle, but still powerful? So I used nature really to help me to discuss it in a kind of subtle way. And I think it's been really successful in terms of, I've met so many people at like reading events and stuff who live rurally, and they've been like, it made them think about things in a completely different way, and to see things from a completely different perspective, which I was really pleased about. And then I had a couple of events, even one in particular in Brixton in London, with a group of women who had never lived rurally. It was a completely alien idea to them. And even for them to get that sense of what rural Britain is like and the pros and the cons of it, I think was quite enlightening for them as well. But yeah, it's been a ride, that book. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when did it get published?
Got published, what year are we now? I'm confused. It got published last year, so early last year. The hardback came out in the UK, in the US and in Germany last year. But then it was 2 years in the production line, so I finished writing it 3 years ago, and then it was quite a long wait before it actually came out in print. But I'm still going, and I've just I said the other day that there's no more events, I'm done. And then I've just been invited to a festival next year, and it's, nope, not done yet. I know it's probably because the conversation in the book is really topical now.
Yes.
So I think a lot of people that have come to it like now are like, actually, we want to bring you on to talk about it because it really chimes with a lot of the things that people are discussing at this moment. So I think the timing just was just a good coincidence, really.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. Because it does just take such a long time, doesn't it, for a book to come out? And
it takes ages.
You've kind of moved on by then.
You've moved on, or the worst thing for me was that I'm halfway through, I think it was a 2-year wait, and halfway through I kept thinking, maybe I'd made it all up and there was no public, it wasn't going to happen, or that they like, maybe just dropped it secretly. Yeah. So yeah, it's a weird experience, but yeah, trying to write again now, but
yes,
life's so busy.
So you're doing your PhD, but the book,
doing my PhD.
Is there a book attached to it then? So what's the plan?
So the PhD, I'm looking at folk tales. So I'm actually writing some modern folk tales, and hopefully there's going to be obviously in print, and I'm hopefully going to do some oral, some audio ones as well, with the hope. So you get that real kind of oral transmission. And one of them was on Radio 4, which was really nice to hear it narrated on the radio. It wasn't me that narrated it, an actress, but it was wonderful to hear it. And then I read it. It's actually folk tales, the original tales from Watch It, and I wrote a retelling. And then I got to actually read the retelling in Watch It, which was amazing for part of their literary festival. That was a really great experience to read it out loud in the place where it's set, where the original one was set, and feel that I'd added to something, like a kind of magical moment of overlap in history of the tale being repeated in that space, which was really quite nice. It was really good. It was a really cool experience. Yeah.
Whereabouts is Watch It?
So Watch It's North Somerset, not far from Minehead, going along the coast up that way. Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. And so you've got a connection to this land, that Somerset space. I mean, it does come through in the book, it does come through so much. It's beautiful. And because I obviously know it from walking out, I can really feel it as well. And I have a similar situation in that I've moved to this tiny little island, Sark in the Channel Islands, and I live here with my partner whose family have been here 500 years. But it's a completely different culture. Yeah, it's mad. And it's such a mad place. And their culture it's not England. It's not the same culture.
Yeah,
and
different.
You have to kind of let it go that it is, because it's not. And yeah, just so many things that I'm like, oh, that's weird. I'm not quite comfortable with that. Okay, that's, it's just the way it is here. It's quite backwards in many ways. And yeah, it's been interesting to sort of be accepted into it, especially because I'm a bit of a, Brighton-y liberal oddball.
I bet they love you.
Yeah, wow, just about. A bit confused, but yeah, I've worked on them.
It's strange when you come into a new place. Yeah, I've been going to and fro to Somerset for a long time, like over 25 years. So I know it really well, and then had a long stretch of living there. And I'm in Devon now, which is strange as well, but I think I've just got so used to being in the West Country. I don't really... Funny enough, when I go back to London now, London feels alien to me, even though I grew up there and I know my way around still, but I go back and it's very much, I feel really transient there. I feel like a tourist there. And when I'm back down here, it's, I know how this works.
Yeah.
Good and bad, I know how it works. So it feels like home. Yeah, it's really strange how it seeps in over time.
Yeah, totally. And when I walk, it feels so much like that's what we're meant to be doing. Like everything in my body says that we're meant to be hunter-gathering and we should be on the move, and that us being stuck in a place feels so wrong. And just, arguing and all the stuff that comes from just being fixed in a place. It's like, we should be doing this. Like our ailments and everything.
When you're fixed in a place, it's a difficult one, because I do understand the importance of heritage and how you said your partner's family have been in Sark for 500 years. And so when you've been in a place generation after generation, you can't help but feel like you and that land are one. And the idea of someone taking it or changing it is quite hard. But then I think that's the problem. If you're too long in one place, you get possessive over that space. And I think I can see how it happens in terms of how we are as a species. But I think that we should be at a stage now where we should be really quite joyful about the fact that we can move and you can experience more. I'd love to, if money and kids allowed, I would move all the time, because I think that for a life to feel full, you should experience as much as you can, not just the same all the time, generation after generation. But then I know there's lots of people that would argue against that. And I can see the joy in that as well when there's lots of cultures where they just don't move and the land is integral to their identity. And I get that. But I'm quite glad that I don't have that I'm not in that situation, that I can, because I've lived in so many places now that I don't even, in different countries, different cities here, and lived on a boat for a long time, floating about. And I love movement. I like moving around. And each time I move, it's like a new chapter in a book.
Yeah.
It feels like a new me, a new life, new everything. Everything changes. And I think that's really, a lot of people don't ever get to experience that, which I think is a shame because it's really good fun.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I've always been a free spirit and I've enjoyed moving around, but I also do appreciate community. And I do think, like, in terms of the future, community is so key.
We're going to need it. We're really going to need
totally.
it. I think so. And that's the only thing that's the negative of it. When you move around so much, you can feel a bit lost sometimes and a bit lonely. Even though you've got people around you, there's that sense of loneliness because you're not embedded in a community. But then the funny thing, I remember when I moved to Somerset, the village that I moved to, I hadn't lived there before. It didn't take long. It really didn't. Within like a couple of months, I knew all my neighbours. Everyone was so kind. And my mum passed away literally when I think like about a month after I moved in, even less. She didn't actually even get to come and see the house. And my neighbours, I didn't know them at all, apart from just a wave in the street and lots of curious glances, see me pottering down the lane. But everyone was amazing. Cakes and blankets knitted and just, so I do think we underestimate ourselves sometimes in that we're sociable creatures. We can build a community pretty quick.
Yeah.
Quicker than I think we realise. I think people don't realise that you can do it. So I'm in Exeter now and I'm literally in the process now of building a new one. It's making friends, having connections, trying to feel like you belong in a space again. But it's a challenge, but I do enjoy it.
Yeah, excellent. I met your partner at the pub in Burrowbridge at the King Alfred, and he told me all about your work and was really excited to chat to us. And we were just so excited to meet someone that wasn't sitting there whispering about immigration in the corner, which was what had happened in every pub from Cornwall to Devon. And it was just the first pub where suddenly these two builders, what are their names?
Joe and Justin.
Joe and Justin, chatting, sniffing snuff.
Yeah, they do love that stuff.
Have a go on it.
I know. You've got to see Christmas Day, the whole family, even my son's been indoctrinated into it. Oh, God, please don't do it. I've never done it.
It's a funny tradition, though. I've never seen anyone doing that anywhere else. That's such
and it's like wasabi or something, because they do it and then they're in like absolute agonies. It's like burning through their face. I'm like, no, it's all right. I'll miss that. I'll skip that one.
It's so funny. It was just such a funny thing. And then, but like I say, the whole of Cornwall and Devon, it was every single pub. There's a scene in Sandman, Neil Gaiman's series from the graphic novels and the series, where every 100 years, this character keeps going back to the same pub. And every 100 years, the same conversations are happening with people going on about the poll tax and things are changing and blah, blah, blah. And like, not in my day and blah, blah. And it just felt like that. Like every pub we went into, they were talking about immigration, and it was like, oh my God, what is wrong with this country? And the George Crosses had all gone up, and it did feel quite scary. You know, Cornwall and Devon felt scary. And then we got to King Alfred, and we walked in, and there's these two builders doing snuff, and we're just like, oh God, here we go. And then they were like absolutely hilarious and just completely woke and talking about Chavageddon, and we're just like. On a mission to stop.
They are on
stop
a mission.
Beijing.
Yeah, they are.
Which is great because I'm totally on board with that. Like Luton, for example, we were quite nervous about going into Luton just because it's got such a bad rep for being a really run-down city.
I haven't been to Luton for years. Oh my God,
Luton was awesome. I mean, yes, it was run down, but the town centre actually wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. But yes, it was definitely a deprived area. But we had more smiles and more questions and curiosity and, oh my God, that's so inspiring than we had anywhere else.
How
literally.
bizarre. Oh, I haven't been to Luton in about 30 years.
Wow. No. Yeah, because I'd done this walk before and I went up and over rather than going through it. And it felt wrong because I've done another walk where you go up the country and we go through Manchester and Stoke-on-Trent. And like Stoke-on-Trent's a really run-down city, but again, that's one of my favourite places to walk through because people are just so genuine, and people are really protective of the land that they've got because they're fighting industrial estates being built on them, and and it's their space. And yeah, Luton, people were just so friendly. I'll hold the cards up. You say to stop. There'll probably be a bit of a delay, but we'll get whatever we
Fine.
get. So you tell me when to stop.
Stop.
So this is swiftness. Let me see if I can get you to see. So it's quite a rainbowy image with these arrows. And
I can see it.
Yeah, so it's the 8 of wands. So it's got this kind of fiery energy. And it's swiftness. So, yeah, does that mean anything to you?
Swiftness, 8 of wands. Funnily enough, it might do actually, because we know we're in this portal moment and everything's supposed to be accelerating. So I think we're probably going to see a lot of things happening quite quickly over the next few months. And I can already sense that there's like movement in everything and just on the ground level up. And even in my own thinking, it's like things move so fast through my brain at the moment. So it's trying to find ways to ground myself and not get caught in the rush of overthinking and doing and feeling too much, so that you can actually stop and process and take time and integrate what you've seen and learned and understood before moving on. So I think swiftness is good, but it's something to be aware of and to not get carried away by the movement of it. Make sure that while you're moving fast, you're still grounded. That's something that I'm trying to do at the moment, because I feel like so much is happening, so many decisions being made, and I'm just like literally bouncing from one thing to another. That real swift, almost dragonfly movement of bang, and it's stop, slow down, ground myself, pay attention before moving on to the next thing. So I think that's possibly in my own life. Does it mean anything to you?
Yeah, well, I mean, it does, because for me, like on the pilgrimages, we see so many rainbows, which is partly because we're outside and you just, see more things to do the outside. But also because it was quite wet when we walked this autumn. But they're such an inspiring and amazing thing to be seeing, especially when they mean peace and hope. And then all the things that they've gone on to mean, the LGBT and the NHS and very open and got this really sort of lovely feel to it. And I feel like with the swiftness, there's an element of wanting to be free and moving in the ways that we were talking about, moving around and experiencing the world in a kind of more transient way.
I guess that worry is if you get swept up in it, you won't see the rainbows. There is that sense of just see the beauty, stop, make sure that during all that movement, you're noting enjoying it and being grateful for it and thankful for it, and really seeing it for the beauty of what it is as you're moving through. And that's something I think I'm having to really train myself to not just get caught in the movement, enjoying the movement, because I've got so much to do and the brain's on fire and I'm rushing about, but remembering to notice the scenery as I'm running past.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, one of the women that I walked with stopped and smelled every rose we passed. And I really loved that. It's like she really did stop and smell the roses. And I was like, yeah, that's a really good thing to do. And now I do that.
I found myself, because I walk the dogs, I've got a really lovely dog walk across through woods and stuff. And I've been finding myself, it's going to sound really weird, finding myself sniffing moss and stuff at the moment. Because they all smell really different. And it's, some of them smell like seaweed. Some smell like earth. Some smell like real decay. Some smell really weird, like something gone off. It's been quite fascinating sniffing things, which is just
I'm going to sniff moss.
I've been eating stuff and smelling stuff. Pay attention to the details as you're moving past them. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I love that. I'm definitely going to... Me and my partner both love moss. We're really obsessed with it. So, yeah, going to get him to start sniffing it with me.
Sniffing the moss.
That's brilliant. Excellent. Okay, we'll do another card.
That was the one I wanted as well.
Oh, cool. That's the Prince of Cups.
Oh.
And this one's got a really... So he's like drinking out of a pool. It's kind of a weird bird. He's like on the back of a bird. So it's like a chariot, but he's on the back of a bird, the prince.
We've got birds
it's
and
water.
a chariot and a cup and water. There's a lot there then, because the
There's a lot
chariot's
there.
all about, oh my God, you got your birds, you got your messengers, and you got your chariot, which is like sitting in your driving seat and directing the pathway of your own life. You got your cup, which is your abundance, and your water is, I guess it's the flow of it all again, isn't it? And
also
into
your
that
imagination
flow.
and
your imagination.
And like the folk stuff you're talking about, I feel is very water place, that kind of subconscious inner world soup that we're all part of. And I always feel like folk especially comes from that place. It's where our dreams are from and all that kind of archetypes and
That's an interesting one. Yeah, I like that.
You're driving your chariot with your book and your PhD literally into that world.
Yeah, it's strange because I grew up in a real classic kind of British Jamaican household. I was born in 75, so a child of the early 80s, and very much like you're very much steered that Caribbean way to be very much steered by your parents, even down to what I chose to do at university. I wanted to be a dancer. My mum was having none of it. She's not a chance. You'll end up being a waitress all your life, and off you go and do medicine. And I basically messed up my A-levels on purpose because I didn't want to do medicine, and ended up going in I did a science degree just because to keep her happy, and just because I was quite interested in David Attenborough, and I thought, might be, but it was nothing like I imagined it to be. It was very dull. And it's taken me this long, and I was 50 this year, it's taken me this long to drive my own chariot and not be governed by expectation of society or expectation of parents or even expectations that I thought were mine, but now I've actually examined them. They weren't mine. They're still based on convention and what you're told. Oh, you've got to do this, and you go off and you do this, and then you get married, and then you get your house, and all these things that you tick list. And I've finally gone, actually, what do I actually want to do? How do I want to do this? And at first making mistakes, because you're not used to driving unaided. And you're like, what the hell am I doing? This has all gone wrong. But then that picking yourself up again and going, okay, that didn't work. Let's try a different pathway. Let's try that. Let's try this. And so that's been it's something I'm doing now. It's the new experience of having that faith in your own driving ability to go forward and we were talking about it earlier, not being guided by fear either. Pushing the fear aside and making sure that you're guiding yourself from a place deeper than that's like coming from your core. That's been quite a new thing to me that I'm trying really hard to embrace. But it's like all things you're learning. It's like new lessons in learning to drive my own life. Yeah.
That's brilliant. I mean, that's all any of us want, isn't it?
It's all you want, but it's not easy. It's not an easy thing to do, I think, in modern society, because there's so many messages we're fed from so many sources, and now with social media about this is how you should feel, this is what you should be doing, this is what you should have, this is what you should look like, what you should want. And I think hearing your own voice through all that noise is incredibly hard, like really hard. And not something that you can just do overnight. Okay, I'm doing it. I think it's a real kind of work in progress thing of drowning out the noise and listening to the inner voice and yet letting that steer the chariot. Yeah.
It is hard. I managed to live for 20 years as an artist, which was amazing because I managed to do it, but it was because of the support of the benefit system in the UK. And then it's getting harder and harder. And now when I moved here in 2020, it changed everything. And now basically I'm a barmaid. So I ended up finding myself in this really difficult situation. I don't want to put myself in a position where I'm like doing a full-time job that I don't want to do just because I have to do it. I want to carry on being an artist.
What is it? Time rich, money poor?
Exactly. Yeah. I'm holding on.
I've just stupidly gone into the arts at a point where there's no jobs, no money, no funding, no nothing. And I'm like, really? Is now the time? But apparently I'm doing it. So
exactly. And the universe will take you and it will look after you.
It will look after me.
I trust it.
Yeah.
It will do. Yeah. That's awesome. Well, that's a really good card. I like that one. If you enjoy this podcast, then please consider supporting me on Patreon, which is patreon.com/Jolie Rose. I put out a lot of free content and do as much work as I can in the world so that people can access it who are on low incomes. And I just want my stuff to be as accessible as possible. And so I do fortnightly articles in the Guernsey Press, and I do fortnightly moon readings and moon ceremonies, which are on YouTube or over Zoom that anyone can just join, and it's all free to do. This podcast comes out every week and is free. And just generally, I'm often putting things out there that people can come along and do for free. And in return, if you enjoy the work that I do and you get something out of it, then if you're up for giving me some financial support, then that just will be amazing, because it means that I can continue doing this. I am existing on very low income and doing this as an artist in a world that is not really looking after artists very much at the moment. I really appreciate all the help that I get, and anything you can do to support me is just so appreciated. If you're able to just do some sort of monthly subscription, that'd be amazing. And yeah, I hope you're enjoying what I'm putting out there. Thank you ever so much for being here. I love making this podcast. And on with the show. Excellent. Okay, and we'll do one last one.
I'm going to do the one right at the end by your hat.
This end?
Keep going. Oh, yeah, that one.
That one? Brilliant.
The last one, yeah.
Ooh, strength. That's a good card.
Oh,
yeah. That's beautiful. So that's got the sun at the top, the moon, and then it's 9 of wands. So it's a fiery energy again, but it's strength. So where are you getting your strength from? And you've got that nice
balance as well between kind of both energies there, sun and moon, isn't it? Which is quite nice. My strength, I think, is coming from... I don't actually know the answer to that question. Where does it come from? I like to say I inherited some of it. I think my mum was a really strong woman. So I think I learnt how to be strong quite early, because she was always very strong. She had quite a tough ride of it, really. But still managed to do everything and look after everyone and have a really successful career and still cope, even though behind the scenes she was actually having a really tough time. And so I think that's taught me that inner strength, and that how to keep going even when you don't really want to keep going. And then I think a lot of strength as well just comes from, if we go back to the kind of previous stuff, it's just that kind of not getting bogged down by things. So your strength comes quite naturally. Every time you ebb a bit low, you recharge it by sniffing moss and walking the land and going outside and feeling the sun and seeing the moon and just breathing it all in. And then you reach it. Often I walk my dogs a lot, and we're really lucky because we're right on the edge of Exeter, and I can walk out and it's just beautiful. And I love it when I go out, and sometimes I go out and it's a rainy day and it's really grey, and I get to the top of the hill and you can see down to Topsham and the estuary, and it's beautiful. And then the sun always comes out, even if it only comes out for like 5 seconds. I'm like, oh, there it is. And it's like a recharge moment. And I stand there, I'm like a crazy person. I just like, oh yeah, it's like literally recharge me. And then off I go, and I come back and I feel recharged. And then I've got enough strength to get through the dishes, fight with the kids about homework.
Yeah.
I'm teaching at the moment as well. So, there's so much to do that if I didn't have these moments of recharge, I think my strength would run out quite quickly.
Yeah.
And so I think I use nature quite a lot to recharge and regain a connection to the strength that I know I have inside me, because I think you can forget how strong you are, especially when life's really tough sometimes and you feel quite weak and fragile within it. I think it's really easy to forget that, no, you can do this. You're actually really strong. And it's when I go off out on my own for walks, I find that then I can reconnect with that. And then I can come back and I can sit down and I'm calm again. It's what mess is it that I have to clean up now? Let me just do this and move on to the next thing. And I think it's really funny because Joe's always saying to me that I fall apart when it's tiny things, like really tiny things, like I can't find my umbrella and it's, oh my God, I'm having a crisis and not going out. But then if something really big happens, like something really shockingly big, someone death in the family, something really big, I'm fine. I'm calm. So off we go. Let's deal with this. Let's move through this experience and deal with what needs being dealt with. So I think that's when I think my strength comes into its own, when the big things come. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm quite similar to that. I'm like that. Awful if I lose something, and I'm fine if it's a massive
nightmare.
crisis.
Because I'm a car key today, it was like I was having an absolute meltdown, and it was like exactly where I left it. But anyway, yeah.
Always. And like, how was it writing a book that, I mean, it felt like it's a very personal book, because I write sort of autofiction, personal stuff as well. And I change people's names and everything, but it's basically my life that I'm writing about. And I just wondered, like, how that felt in terms of the book coming out, and just...
I think, in a way, a lot of it actually, I think what made it probably easy is a lot of it isn't my experience, because I guess Tess in the book, because she's a black woman like me, coming from Southeast London, Jamaican heritage, I really wanted to move her into the space, like, without any knowledge of the space. Whereas for me, moving to the Southwest, I already knew it. I wasn't it wasn't like moving into the unknown. I've had a lot of my drinking years have been in Taunton, staggering around, eating kebabs at random hours. So it's been a very different experience for me being in the Southwest. But I think, and what happens to the family is not something that I experienced. So I think I had that degree of separation to be able to step away and go, it really is fiction. The only real truth in the novel is the house. The house is a house that I did live in, which I loved as well. And it was set into a riverbank and damp and really old. It's got like wonderful history attached to it. And that was nice. And you do see there's bits where you can see where work's been done on it years ago. And you can see where the fingerprints of people have been left like over the last 200 years. And that idea that you've added to that space, your kind of energy's been in that space. And I think it was quite nice to celebrate that in the book.
Yeah.
And to celebrate the mixture of the cultures that I've grown up in, because I've grown up in London culture and then Caribbean London culture, which is different again, and then a very rural existence in Somerset. And to bring those three worlds together in a way that might not have been seen before. And I think, and how they merge, and where I think what's quite fun is where the similarities are. People think that, it couldn't be the same, there's worlds apart. It was quite fun bringing in bits of I did bring some of my mum's experience of growing up on a farm in Jamaica and farming. And it's like her life wasn't that dissimilar to rural life here. Yeah. I think people don't realise how many similarities there actually really are. We get so caught up in kind of racial difference, and we assume that cultural differences are like poles apart, and they're actually really not. It might be that the food grown is slightly different, but the whole relationship to the land and the food and the seasons is not that different at all. And so it's quite nice to explore that through fiction and share it, I think. So I didn't find that part stressful. Some of the book took work. Like, I had to really think about, okay, how am I going to convey this in a way that people can really understand it and really see what I'm saying. And then some parts of the book, especially the sunny bits, I didn't have to work on at all. They just came lucid moments of just like stream of consciousness stuff where I didn't even know where it came from. I'm just like, whoever gave it to me, I'm like, please give me some more. I need more.
Yeah, amazing. And it is, you really capture the land beautifully. And, I'll just walk through it, and so I'm feeling nostalgic for it. And you're sending me right back there when I'm reading it.
Beautiful landscape. And it's a really wonderful place to watch the seasons turning around, tracking time through plants, and the change in kind of the way the hedges change, the way the sky changes, and what the water does, because Somerset, the water all over the place, and when the floods come, what the rivers are doing. And when you live there, you learn to read these things. You watch the river, because the river was behind the house, and you look at it and you're like, it's doing this today. What does that mean? And you learn to read these things, which I think I didn't appreciate that growing up in London, how you read the landscape, and it tells you stuff about the weather that's coming, or a situation that's coming, or that flooding is going to be coming soon, or a drought's coming soon. And you're going to have to host pipe bands coming soon. You can preempt a lot of things if you watch the landscape. And I think that's something I didn't ever appreciate growing up. And so it was really lovely to be in Somerset and learn how to read things. And I think that's something I've taken with me. Now I'm in Devon, I go out. We just went out looking for chestnuts the other day. And Saturday we were in Dartmoor, pottering around. And it's just like reading the landscapes becomes something that I don't even think about anymore, that wasn't something that I learned when I was younger.
Yeah, no, totally. And so what's just as a chaos crusade for people to do?
I liked the idea because I thought it was all about words here and stuff and the written word. I was going to challenge people to have a day of silence.
Ooh.
Complete silence, and that you could only communicate through writing in as few words as possible. Just to see what words, if you only could communicate with as few words as possible, what words would you choose? Because it would force you to stop and think about your word choices and how you're going to convey whatever it is, or whether you just don't need to say anything, whether sometimes talking's unnecessary and it's just not needed. So yeah.
Love it. A day of silence is a great idea. When we do the pilgrimages, it's the only way I've found to actually recharge is to not talk. So if we do days off, because it's such an extended period of exercise, if you have a day off, it doesn't help. It actually just makes it harder to get moving again the next day, because you're never stopping long enough to really, I'm still knackered now, like it's a week later, it will take me time to recuperate from it. And so not talking for a day is the best way to actually recharge, because it puts quite a lot of stress on your body talking. And so if you're just in
on your
silence,
brain,
you really rest.
Yeah.
And
I think if your brain's not having to talk all the time, it can focus on other things, like internal things, bodily things. It's just that energy's not being directed towards your mouth. So yeah, I think that would be quite an interesting experiment to try out.
Oh, so good. Are you going to do it as well?
I'm such a chatterbox though.
Same here.
I'm like, well, maybe an hour.
It's a good experiment. I mean, it'd be really good to do. I used to lose my voice quite a lot. I've got quite a strained voice. And I would be at parties and I'd lose my voice and I'd spend the whole night having to do everything for interpretive dance. But
it's quite expressive. I think trying to figure out other ways of communication is it's quite an expressive thing to do. Like, how can I communicate this if I can't talk? Yeah, it could be loads of fun. I might have to try it. I don't know if my kids would be on board of it.
Try it. Do a party or do an afternoon or something. Yeah, I think I'm well up for this. This is really good. I'll let you know if I manage to pull off
if you manage to
period of time.
If you manage it.
And just briefly a bit again about your PhD, just in case we did get cut off at the beginning.
Yeah, so
I'm
basically looking at the folktale, the British folktale. I'm looking at it from two areas really. One, I'm looking at it from like how the folktale evolves, because we're seeing a lot of kind of folkloric fiction come through publishing at the moment, and there's this I guess surprise, I should say, that I don't think a lot of people notice that or know that folktales tend to arise through the populace when we're in periods of political and social unrest, or when something's changing within society. You get like a real surge in folk, not just literature, but dance and song, and there's just a re-emergence of it when there's that real need for a kind of stability and a sense of like a national identity. So I'm examining the kind of the trajectory of the folktale. I'm arguing that what we're seeing now come through, we're getting a lot of kind of folkloric short stories. It's people go, oh, that's a folktale, and this is like contemporary fiction that's mimicking a folktale or just adapting. And my argument that it isn't. These are our folktales, because 100 years from now, 200 years from now, if we make it to that point, we need to record. It's like a diary of the nation. We still need to keep recording the stories of the folk, because the future will need to look back along the whole line of history, not just back to like 12th century folktales or 18th century folktales. It doesn't stop. The folk continue. And then we're coming through kind of multicultural British folkloric fiction now. And you already know that people are going to be like, oh no, this is like appropriation, it's wokeism, it's like tainting the purity of something that's considered like a real kind of symbol of cultural heritage. And the argument is, if you look back at a lot of the really old tales, multiculturalism has always been here. Yeah. And it's always been captured in the stories. And so what we're seeing coming through now is exactly what we're supposed to see. The tale is actually connected to the land as well as the people. And it's the people that walk the land, whoever they are. And so as new people come in and become brought into the British population, they become part of the folk. We all are. And so the tales we tell about us are multicultural because it's always been a multicultural nation. And I think a lot of people just don't understand or appreciate that. And I think there was a big gap in, I think the problem we've got is that issue of skin colour. It's like the folk tale's considered a very white symbol, and it's not. It's a symbol of people that live here. That's it. It's so anyone that lives here is part of that collective and part of the folk. And so that's the argument in the critical side of my PhD. And then the creative side is I'm writing some new folk tales.
Brilliant.
And hopefully going to perform them as well, because I really want them to be not just in print, but to honour the oral tradition and release them. It's almost like you release the tale into the ether and hope that someone remembers it or retells it, and you've added to that whole cycle. And it's really interesting to read through all the retellings because, you know, each retelling of a tale, if you think like some of the really early tales, if you can imagine how many times that tale's been retold over like 200 years, every time it's told, it's a cultural kind of snapshot at that day on that moment, because whoever the storyteller is, they'll bring new elements into their retelling based on who they are and their life experience, who their audience is. We're getting feminist folk tales, getting queer folk tales. Everyone brings in elements of themselves. And if you see the changes in the retellings, you can really track our cultural evolution as a nation. I think it's fascinating. I really do. And so it's been quite a political PhD. I didn't know it was going to be quite as political when I started it as it's turned out to be. But it's been especially what's going on at the moment. Yeah. But it's fun. I've learned a lot about Britain and Britain's history and how it's been recorded in tales and how much we aren't taught at school, the history that we're taught at school is so cherry picked. We're going to learn about this aspect and that aspect. And there's so much before and in between that just isn't covered that I wish was covered, because I think a lot of the views of circulating now wouldn't be like this if we knew the history of the nation. If we really knew it, I think it wouldn't be like it is now.
Yeah, I fully agree with that. Yeah. I work at a Tudor reenactment. I've been working there since I was 10. And so I'm performing, in Suffolk and performing these moments. I know, it's well cute and I love it. And we still do it. And for years it was like, you know, this weird sort of geeky thing that we did. And then in recent years, because of how everything's going, we've just been very smug. It's been like, well, we know how to do things.
Yeah. Because
I know how to make cheese and butter.
Yeah, and there's loads of really interesting things that we should be passing down and we're just not. Yeah. Which is really sad. Exactly. It's really sad. Everyone gets so fixated on negatives all the time. This is negative, that's negative, they are negative, this situation is negative. And it's, what if we just stopped and just said for the next 5 years, we're not allowed to notice anything negative. We're supposed to always just notice the positive in things. It'd be a really interesting experiment to see socially how much we would change as a country, as a nation, if we noticed the positive things. And not amplified negative things so much so that it completely smothers everything that's good.
Same on SARC. It's the same here. They literally, it's just negative, and you're like,
it's negative.
And we live in paradise.
It's really quite sad because I think we don't realise how lucky we actually are here. We're not in the middle of a war. We can all nip to the supermarket, order food off Deliveroo. We're living in a really quite comfortable, even though times are hard and money's hard and prospects are hard, we're actually still really fortunate in this country, and there's still enough to go around. But and it makes me nervous because it makes me think that if people are this worried now, when things do get hard, they will, especially if we consider like climate change and what's happening, when things really do get hard, it's like, how are you going to cope then? If you're worried about how things are now.
Exactly.
How are you going to cope with that? It's too soon to be worrying. It's too soon to be stressing out and spreading hate and anger. It's just chill and enjoy it. Because we're one of the lucky generations that still can go off and travel and walk and enjoy things and sit out in a pub beer garden on a Sunday afternoon and relax with family and friends. The day might come where those things just don't happen anymore. I think people don't appreciate it. They're too busy caught up. And that's where social media, I think, doesn't help, because it amplifies things in such a way that it can fill someone's whole field of vision. And you're like, Yeah, it's really sad. It makes me sad. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's, I think, part of the Chaos Crusade. Be quiet and appreciate what you've got.
Appreciate what you got. Yeah. Yeah.
So much. It's been
notice
so
the
good.
Scenery.
Yeah. Stop and smell the roses.
Yeah. Stop and notice the scenery, and then you'll see things. Yeah, that you just that are just wonderful. You're really lucky.
It's why
to be
I
able
can't
to see.
I wouldn't be able to not walk now, because the year when I didn't walk, I did just sit at home and ate and drank and just wasn't healthy. And it's not just the health. It's like not seeing my mum or having that proper injection of like needing sort of going home, but it's a deeper home than just going home at Christmas or something. It's that need to be fully immersed in the land and the landscape, and to be out every day walking and to watch a season change. And it's such a deep, yeah, it hits in such a deep place that when I don't do it now, it feels wrong.
And there's so many people that have never experienced it or have walked through it and have not noticed it. It's that lack of curiosity and lack of paying attention.
Yeah,
to things, not paying attention to the screen or to the voices and the noise, but pay attention to the land and the beauty that's all around all the time. Even in the most urban spaces, there's still beauty everywhere. And I think people just are so busy. There's, I guess, that swiftness again. They're so busy with the drudgery of life, because it is hard, that they just don't notice that there's so much to be really thankful for all the time, every day. Yeah.
See the
we'll
rainbows.
Keep trying. See the rainbows.
Oh, it's been an absolute pleasure to meet you.
Thank you for having me.
And it was such a lovely way of meeting you as well. It was so wonderful. So do send my love to Joe, and
I will do.
He's
so downstairs somewhere.
Excellent. And I've nearly finished your book. I'm really looking forward to finishing it. It's been such a brilliant read. So yeah, it's really brought me back to the space, and I've really enjoyed being there. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
So that's the awesome Fiona Williams. What an absolute joy it was to get to know her and to talk to her, because I've been loving her book, The House of Broken Bricks. Definitely download that on Audible or buy a copy of it. It's a really good Christmas present idea. It's just such a brilliant read and has captured a landscape that I have a huge love for. It's one of the places where the energy lines come through really strong. So I really feel the Mary line along the riverbanks of this part of the walk. And it's as you approach Burrowbridge and then going from Burrowbridge towards Glastonbury, it's just so mythical and magical and steeped in history. And yeah, it's a very rich landscape. And she's really captured that in her book. And you can tell that it's infected her and affected her in the way that it has myself as well. And so from being back home, I can transport myself back to this landscape that I really have a deep passion for. And yeah, it's a wonderful story to read, and absolutely interesting in terms of the human aspect of it, and being an outsider living in these very traditional rural landscapes that are foreign to all of us. You know, I mean, unless you're from that kind of upbringing, most people grow up in towns and cities and not exposed to that kind of world. And it does remind me quite a lot of living in Sark and the culture that's here. It's got this very land-connected rural culture that is so different to being in Brighton and, you know, living in London and Berlin and all the other places that I've lived. It's just a completely different reality. And yeah, so she's captured all of that brilliantly. And yeah, I've got some other fantastic people connected to the pilgrimage that I'm looking forward to interviewing, and other writers as well who are their works inspired by the land and their connection to the land. So I've got some fantastic people lined up to talk to that I can't wait to share with you. And as ever, I love doing this. Thank you for being here. It's really nice to be back in the studio. It's nice to be home with my darling Dizzle. And being on Sark, I do adore being here. So very happy to be back and sharing more insights with you as to what was learnt on that incredible pilgrimage that we've just done. So thank you for being here. See you again next week, and I shall see thee anon.